Hello everyone and welcome to another Sencha Touch video tutorial. In this video I'm going to look at how to create a sliding menu in Sencha Touch. This is a pretty popular thing to do these days. I'm not sure if Facebook were the first people to do it, but they've certainly made it very popular. And I tend to use it a lot in my applications. Sort of save the screen real estate by not having the sort of extra tab bars permanently down the bottom, and you can just sort of pop out the menu whenever you like to go to different views or whatever you want to do in there. So I find it a really useful thing to do. So I'm going to show you how to create exactly what you're seeing on the screen here from scratch. So I'll start off with generating a new Sencha Touch application completely. So I'll just get rid of that for now. Open up the command prompt. So probably know how to generate an application by now. If you don't, check out the first video tutorial I made. That'll show you how to generate a new Sencha Touch application. So now I'm going to go into the Touch directory, generate a new app. I'm just going to call this sliding menu. And I'll probably put this code up, or rather I will put this code up on GitHub afterwards as well. So I'll probably have a link to that in the description of the video or on the blog post. And so you can sort of have a look at that side by side and copy bits and pieces from it if you need to. So I'll just let this finish doing its thing and then I'll come back. Okay, so that's finished generating now. I'm just going to open that up in my text editor. Okay, so this is the default application that Sencha Touch generates. I've shown you all this before, but let me just open that up again just to have a look at where we're starting from. Load that up. Okay, so just as the default application, this is exactly how it appears as soon as you generate the application. So now I'm going to open up that application in here again. And what we're going to do to start off with is just open up the main view and just clear out a few things in here. So I'm going to want to change this to container. Don't need these, but I will put in this. I require the ext.menu class. Of course, we'll be using this. So this comes with Sencha Touch by default, which makes it a lot easier to implement a menu than it used to be. We don't want that. Let's clear out some of these items as well. Let's get rid of that completely. Oops. And I also want to make this just a card layout for now as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first create that toolbar that's at the top of the application that actually holds the button that will be clicked to toggle the menu in and out. So to do that, I'm going to create a toolbar by using X-type toolbar. We're going to use this command docked to make it stick to the top of the viewport. Let's give it a title of sliding menu. And now we want to add that the button that we'll click to show the menu. So don't need that there. So we do X-type button. For now, we'll just add some text in it. We'll say M for menu, but we'll change this later to put the actual icon in. And a handler function. So this will handle toggling the menu from being visible and not visible. So do a handler function, and we want to say if the menu is hidden, so we're looking for the left menu, you can stick the menu to the left, the right, the top, or the bottom. example, go with the left. So we're saying if it's hidden, we want to show the menu when that button's tapped. So show menu left. Otherwise, we want to hide the menu. Okay, so and we're also going to have to put a initialize listener on here as well. So basically, we just want to create this menu once the view is initialized. So let's put that in there. So we're using this set menu function, and we're going to be calling this.create menu, and this is a function that we're going to create in a second. Again, we want it to be on the left side. Okay. So now I'll create that create menu function. Down here. And create menu function. And now we're going to define the items that we want the menu to hold. So all they are basically, the two that I showed before is just just two buttons. You can put anything you'd like in there, but buttons tend to work pretty well for just for a normal sort of menu. So we want to do X type button. We want to just call it button 1 for now. And let's throw another one in there as well. Let's copy and paste this one actually. And I guess we'll just call that one button 2. And now we actually want to create that menu. So we'll call ext.create. We want to create a menu. And we want to pass in the following config options here. Just throw this on here, padding 0. Probably shouldn't do it here, but I will anyway. Give it an ID of menu. You can control how wide we want that to be, so I'm just going to go with 200. That seems to work pretty well. The scrollable config will say basically whether we want the user to be able to drag the menu up or down or not. So if you do have more items in the menu that will actually fit in the screen comfortably, you can just set it to scrollable so then they can scroll that menu up and down to show more of the items. And of course we want to set the items to the items that we just created. So at this point, hopefully we should have something going on in our application. So let's give it a refresh. Sure there's no errors. Okay, so we have our button there with the M on it to toggle the menu in and out. And it looks like I do have an error somewhere in here. Let me see if I can find that. So cannot read property is hidden of undefined. Let me pop that up. Get menus left is hidden. What have I done wrong here? Okay, I managed to actually find what was going wrong there. It's difficult trying to record a video and debug at the same time. There's so much pressure. But I did have a couple typos here. We want listeners, and I wrote initialize instead of initialize. A lot of you probably saw that and got really annoyed by it. So I apologize for the minor disruption there. So I'll save that, and hopefully now we can see our sliding menu actually work. And there you go. So it slides in and out. But what we want to do now is sort of make it look just a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do is jump back in here again and open up the resources sas and app.scss folder. So this is where we can make changes to the style sheet of our application. What this SCSS file allows us to do is to create some rules in here, which gives us a little bit more power than just plain CSS normally does. And then from that, a normal CS file is generated. So to make sure everything goes as we would like it to, we have to actually make sure Compass is running to actually generate the CSS file. So what you want to do here is just go into the directory of your application you created, go to the resources SAS folder, and just run the Compass watch command. And make sure that comes up, and in a second it should say it's polling for changes. Okay, so now anytime we make a change to that file, it's going to see that a change has been made, and it's automatically going to regenerate that CSS file. And just to show you, this is CSS file, so you can see it's sort of a minimized version. Okay, so let's close that. Alright, so now I'm going to add in a couple of styles in here, and also I'm going to include the list icon. So Sencha Touch only has a few icons included by default. So what we can do is say include icon list, and that gives us that those 3-bar icon that is typically used for the sliding menus. And as well as that, we're also going to create the style for our menu buttons. So create a class called menu button, say background none, border none, white, and give it a margin of 0 pixels. And I'm also going to align the label, which is within that button. I'm going to align that to the left using text align left on that class. So now, just to show you, I'll bring this up before I save it. So now when I save this, this is going to detect the change. So go ahead and do that now. And then it should regenerate the CSS application. So it will say overwrite app.css. So now that new file is ready to go. But before we do that, we want to actually add those classes to our buttons. So I'm going to change this now. So it has the list icon. So we use icon class list. And as well as that, I'm going to set the UI to plain. And you'll see what that does in a second. But essentially, buttons usually have this sort of background around them. Setting it to UI plain means that rather than sort of looking like a button that can be pushed and indented, it's just a simple flat icon, and when you click on it, there's a glow effect to indicate that it's actually been tapped. Okay, so I've got that on there. Now I'll just come down to the buttons here. It's an icon class. Just for fun, we'll put in a user here that has the little person icon. And then we want to set the class of the button to the class we just created, which is menu button. And I'll do the same for the other one as well. Go to that comment there. Okay, so now if we jump back into here again and refresh, you can see there we've got that plain UI now instead of the default one, and we've got the list icon, and we can open that up and we can see our buttons in there. So obviously you probably want to style this a bit more. You can make the buttons look however you like, however simple or complex you want, just by adding some more rules to that SCSS file. And then we can also hook up some handler function for these buttons too, which is quite simple to do, so that when we click it, perhaps it closes this menu and launches a new view whenever the user's clicked on. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I'll put this code on GitHub. I'll link it below so you can take a look. And I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. And I'll see you next time.